Okay, I've been looking forward to this interview right here. This man scheduled an interview about 2 months ago or so. And the day of the interview, we got the call that it had to be rescheduled. And I was like, man, oh my goodness, I wanted to sit with this brother. And it never happened. And then all of a sudden, I get a call out the blue, and they're like, he's ready. We're going to do the interview. So I've been geared up. I've been happy. And, every now and then you do an interview and it feels like it's anointing. It feels like this is just going to be a good time. And this is one of them. Please welcome. And I don't even know what to call you. Am I calling you pastor? Am I calling you bishop? Am I calling you Marv? Or am I calling you the notorious B.I.G. because I see you with the Coogee and the New York hat? How we doing it today, my brother?
Oh man, just call me Marvin. That's fine. Just call me Marvin. It's just, I'm honored, man. I'm glad to be here with you today, though.
Absolutely, the pleasure's all mine. The Bishop Marvin Sapp. This is such a pleasure. Bishop, and you did it right too. I'm from New York. I'm from the BX. You up in here with the New York Yankee hat, like
Straight up.
You did.
Straight up.
Okay, forget about me. Let's talk about you for a second. Flint, Michigan. What was it like growing up in Flint?
Well, I'm actually from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay,
so Grand Rapids, Michigan is on the western side of the state, and Grand Rapids, Michigan is more of your Republican style area. It's the second largest city in the state of Michigan, next to Detroit, and it was cool. I grew up in the city, but I grew up in the inner city, of course, and grew up to a divorced mom, and who divorced my mom. My dad divorced my mom when I was very, very young, and even though they made sure that I was in church, church wasn't necessarily in me. I got in a lot of trouble, did a lot of things that I shouldn't have done, just like, most people, most young people who are, curious, dibbled and dabbled in drugs and alcohol and things of that nature. And, but still stay connected to the church, sing every Sunday at my church, local church. And just like I said, I was in the church, but the church wasn't in me. And, then one day a major transformation took place in my life, and the rest is really more or less history. I finally got to a place where, I really understood who I was supposed to be. And I locked into that person and just began to evolve and grow. And it's been a wonderful journey, man, some 55 years later.
Beautiful, beautiful. Where did this bug for singing? Because you said that you have been singing in the church since a young age. Where did that come from?
I started singing. My father was a singer. So I sang my first solo in church. I think I was 4, maybe 4 or 5. And, it's strangely enough, my dad was in the male chorus, and he used to sing a song called Just a Closer Walk with Thee. And my younger brother, the brother that's under me, he was, mama had to hold him, of course. So somebody had to sit with dad. So I sat with dad in the choir stand. And fairly large church back then, sat about 1,500 people, jam-packed every Sunday. My dad sing his solo, and after hearing it so many times, I knew the words. So one Sunday morning while he was singing it, I decided to walk down there and stand next to him. And he ended up putting the mic in my face, and, I ended up singing the words on perfect pitch and the whole 9 yards. And then next thing I know, I was getting baptized and being a part of a choir called the Chapel Choir. And I've been singing for 50 years. 50 years. So, and never sung, check this out, never sung anything but gospel in my whole life. Yeah. My mother made me, at 10 years of age, my mother made me make a choice. My mother came to me, I was 10. She said, Marvin, you either going to sing in the church or you're going to sing in the world. You can't do both. And I made a commitment at 10 years of age that I just wanted to sing gospel music. And honestly, I've never sung anything other than that. I dabbled with just recently. A friend of mine said to me, they said, Marvin, you should do if you was a R&B singer, like EP. And I was like do an EP card if I was R&B singer, and then just do like 3 to 5 R&B songs just to put them out for a limited edition. But I've never sung anything but gospel music my whole entire life.
Wow. How about that? Wow. You said a couple of things that just stood out to me. You said you was in the church, but the church wasn't always in you.
Oh, definitely not.
I had an opportunity to read, and tell me if I got these dates correct. At the age of 12, and I look at you, and you're the bishop. You are the bishop. You have got me through some dark times, and we'll get to that. But, you're the bishop. You have been singing nothing but gospel music for your entire life.
Yeah.
But at 12, I read you smoked weed for the first time.
Yeah.
Did pills at 15.
Yes, 15.
Snorted a line of coke at 18.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? If you've been in the church singing since 4.
Well, I was in the hood, man. I grew up in the hood. And once my mother and father got divorced, as a kid, you rebel. And, that's what happened. My mother and father got divorced. I was going to, they used to call it parochial schools back then, but I was going to a Catholic school. And when my mom and dad got divorced, I had to start going to the public school across the street. Well, the parochial school I went to was 60-40, white, black. White and other, put it that way, because it was Hispanics, blacks, and so on and so forth. But then, when I went to the school across the street from my house, it was 98% black. So, I started meeting guys and started connecting to different friends. And one of my friends' his father was the local, drug dealer. The reality is, his father, he sold weed. So, he knew where, they knew, it was 2 of them, they 2 brothers, they knew where dad kept the stash. And so my 6th grade year, I was 12 years old, I started smoking marijuana. We'd smoke it literally behind the garage of my home because I stayed directly across the street from my school. So we'd smoke weed and then we'd go to class and, and then by the age of 16, I began to drink and pop pills. Back then, even did syrup, which is crazy because, back then.
Syrup was around back then?
Oh, yeah. Lean was around back then.
Get out of here.
Yes, sir. That's when you could buy it off the, back then in the 70s stuff, codeine syrups and stuff, you could buy over the counter. You didn't have to get no doggone prescription. And so, did lean back then. And then, I snorted my first line of cocaine with my boss in the basement of my job. And, going to church every Sunday, bro. I was in church every Sunday, singing in the choir, directing the choir, actually. And, but just in the church, but really the church wasn't in me. And then, I literally had an epiphany. I literally had a come to Jesus moment when I turned 18 years of age and heard for the first time a message from a preacher that really resonated with me. And that's when I made a decision to really, really commit my life to who I was singing about. And when I made that commitment, physically, because I just stopped doing all the things I was doing. I stopped drinking, smoking, all the different things. It affected my body physically. And I was diagnosed as an epileptic at that point in time. But, thanks be to God, I got healed from that illness, and I've been able to function and do all the things that I've desired to do all through these years successfully, musically, in the industry that I'm proud to be a part of.
Beautiful, beautiful. Who's the disciplinarian in your family? Is it your mother or your father? Because I don't think it went over too well that a 12-year-old is getting high in that house and you directing the choir.
Oh, Doc, listen, it was my mama. Oh, it was a whooping daily. Let me be clear.
Cause that's where I'm going with this.
It was a whooping daily, man. I mean, but I took the L, bro. I just took the L for real. And I was like, whatever, man. I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna do me. And got put out a few times as a teenager, of course, threatened to move me in with my dad. And my father would always tell me to love my mother, would always tell me, to listen to her. And I'd be like, man, you don't know how this is difficult living with this chick. And and then I thought about it. I was like, well, you was married to her and you left, so shoot, so you know how hard it was. But at the end of the day, man, my mother was a strict disciplinarian. I mean, she was hard on us. I mean, me and my brothers, it was 4 boys, and she had to raise us in the hood by herself. And she was very hard on us, very, very. But she felt like she had to be. And honestly, in retrospect, I believe that she had to be as well, because her goal. She used to say this to us all the time. My goal in my life is to ensure that you all are felony free. That's my goal. And she's been able to do that. I mean, my oldest brother, he just retired as the assistant superintendent for the juvenile facilities in our county, in my city, Grand Rapids, Michigan. My younger brother is a comedian. He travels, as well as he has an exceptional job working for the gas company. And my other brother's an entrepreneur, a barber owning a barber college. And, all of us are fairly successful in our own right, in our own areas. And it's because, man, we had a strong hand mother who made sure that she checked us, even though I was out there doing foolishness and debauchery.
It's no surprise to hear this story, because coming up in a black church and having a mother who's in the church, they don't play.
They don't.
They do not play. And even when I asked you that question, I kind of knew it was going to be your mother who was the disciplinarian in that family, and especially with boys.
Yeah.
They
No
make
sisters.
sure that they're
4 boys, Doc. I don't have no sisters. It was 4 boys in the house, and there was a whole lot of broomsticks and switches. And do you remember? This? I don't know how old you are, but you probably will remember this. Remember when you used to have those Matchbox cars, and you had them,
Absolutely.
them orange, like flexible.
the racetracks that it came with.
Sorry, every time I think about them racetracks, man, I need counseling. Because I thought they was for the Matchbox cars, and I got to realize, no. She take one of the things and put it on us, man. It was crazy.
And if you remember the Matchbox, the racetracks, they was just the right length, because you used to have to put them together.
It was like whoever designed them was from the hood.
Exactly. They knew what they was going to be used for.
Yep, but every time I see them joints, man, I need counseling. I'm like, oh, I just get shaky.
Oh my goodness, you got me dying over here. All right, so 18 years old, you change your life. You get a message, and it speaks to you. You say, you know what? I know the right way, and it's time that I start living it. You go to A&M Bible College in Indianapolis.
Right.
How long did that last?
I went there for 2 years, and I came home and went back to school in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then after that, man, I get a call from Fred Hammond.
This is where your world changes.
Totally, completely,
This is where
man. Totally, completely.